Example number 3, determine the square root of a perfect square. So now we're going to work backwards. We have been able to figure out what a perfect square is. We can calculate the area of a square if we know the side length. So now we're going to try and figure out the side length if we know the area. So to start with, example 3, evaluate the square root of 1.44. This symbol here is a square root symbol. It's kind of like a check mark mixed up with a long division symbol. So make sure you're aware that that is a square root symbol. So that means if we have a square with an area of 1.44, what is its side length? That's what this is basically asking. And that's shown here. The area is 1.44. We're trying to figure out the side length of it. And to do that, we take the square root of the area, or the square root of 1.44. That's what we're doing here. So find a positive number that when multiplied by itself equals 1.44. So there's a few techniques you can use. Method 1 would be what we call guess and check. So, well, let's start with 1. 1 times 1 is 1. So that's too low. That's not 1.44. Let's try 1.1. 1.1 times 1.1, or 1.1 squared, gives us 1.21. Again, that's too low. So now we'll try 1.3, and we'll multiply 1.3 times 1.3, or 1.3 squared, gives us 1.69. So that now is too high. So we tried 1.1, it was too low, 1.3 was too high, 1.2. Let's try that, 1.2 times 1.2. So 1.2 squared, hey, it's 1.44. So the square root of 1.44 is this 1.2. So you can work your way through it to try and guess and narrow it down till you eventually do get it, but that could take a really long time depending on the numbers you're working with. So let's have a look at the second method. Method 2 is using fraction form. Take this number and convert it into a fraction. So 1.44. The first 4 is in the 10th position, the second one is in the 100th position. So I'm going to take this 144, put that on top, and then it's going to be over 100. And once you see it this way, you'll see, okay, well 100 is less than 144, which is why the 1.44 works. This number is bigger than 1. It's an improper fraction, and that's fine. So now we've got it in fraction form. The list on that previous page doesn't go as high as 144, but that's okay. The square root of 144 is 12. The square root of 100 is 10. So you take the square root of the top, put it there. Square root of the bottom, put it there. Now in this version you don't have the square root symbol anymore because you've done this calculation. And so now 12 over 10, just do that on your calculator. 12 divided by 10 equals 1.2, which is what we said the answer was earlier. So we know we're on the right path. So the square root of 1.44 is 1.2. Now, you can of course check this on your calculator. You should at the very least have a square root symbol even on the more basic calculators. So you can punch in your number, 1.44, and then hit your square root symbol, which on this calculator is right here. And it gives you the 1.2. So that's that. Make sure you're aware of how to use the square root symbol and the squared symbol on your calculator. Now, You can use something called inspection as well for method number 3. 1.2 times 1.2, as we've already figured out, is 1.44. If you recognize that 1.44 looks a lot like 144, and you already know that the square root of 144 is 12, then you might be able to make that work. So, okay, well, 144 square root is 12. This is 100 times less than that. So maybe it's a tenth smaller than 12. So 12 divided by 10 is 1.2. So if you really understand the numbers and relationships, you might be able to use the inspection technique. All right, a couple more examples here with another show you know. Please go ahead and do it.